still stuck on it. I guess keep going up if we can. We got plenty of room to go up. We can get these mounts out of here.
We can't be lifting up the whole transmission.
Okay, we got it out of the crossmember now.
Should pull back.
Huh?
Pull back.
Pull back. Chain coming. Don't shake it. Don't shake it.
You don't want corn in your face?
I'd rather not get corn in my mouth like that speaks.
Dripped off that chain.
Yep, tastes sour still. Try it.
We can jack it up a little bit more.
Coming, ever so slowly. Jack her up a little more if you can.
Oh,
Oh, great.
did I get it?
Yeah, but you've done corn in my hair. Like a lot of corn. My hair's gonna be nice and sticky now.
Yeah, you can shower.
Now, do you not know how hard it is to get corn out of your hair?
I'm not a dumbass.
How in any way is that my fault?
Well, obviously you've done it before. That's what I'm going for there.
Watch my radiator, bud.
I'm still probably 6 inches away from it or more. Yeah. I'm gonna put the bucket down.
This one's not too bad. Alright, we got the engine back from the local machine shop, and surprisingly enough, they didn't find any problems with it. The only thing they did was bore this out 30 thousandths. And also they gave me an entire gasket kit along with all the rings that they did it. They did turn the crank because all the bearings were pretty much screwed on it. So they wrapped it in like this plastic wrap. But they did turn it. I don't have the numbers to see how much they took off, but it wasn't really that much.
It says on here.
Does it say how much?
Yeah, right at the top. Rods,
10
10,000ths. Mains, 10,000ths.
Along with, they took off 10 thousandths off the head to resurface it. And I believe they put in all the new valve stem seals, because they obviously, we took off the valves and they put them in for us, and it looks like they put new seals in it. Along with I guess dipped it and painted it. I can't honestly tell if that's cast colored or if they painted it. But we went ahead and sprayed WD-40 on it because I haven't had time to, put it on. I didn't want it to rust. And the other heads over there, and all the other parts that I've yet to paint. And this one that Levi just knocked over about 5 minutes ago. They talk like that?
Yeah, definitely.
You got the whole entire gasket set here. And, I mean, honestly, it comes with that two-piece oil pan gasket along with cork, pretty much everything, and like they leak a lot, so I'm probably not going to use those. There's a two-piece oil pan. I'll probably buy the one piece because these two pieces seem to leak quite a bit. That's what I did have in this one. Pick up the box. What else do we got? There's little lifters in there. Big old can. Not really, it's a stock can, but it's a man.
It's a box.
Oh, really? Is it childproof?
Yes.
Yeah, got some main bearings. Let's compare those to the old ones. Where is the old ones? It's over here somewhere. That box. Compare this one with these new ones. Definitely ran a little low on oil once or twice compared to the new one. This one definitely got tore up quite a bit. What else we got here? Rod bearings. I wonder if they gave us. I would assume that they would give us the right size for that, but they did check these. They did check all these. They said these were fine. I don't honestly know, but like all these rods have like wear and tear marks on them. Like something got in between it and the bearing. The shop said it was fine, so I'm gonna go by their word.
This is your pump oil.
A pump oil.
Pump oil.
Did they actually come with that timing set? Because my grandpa said that he thought they didn't. He looked in here and said they did. I never saw it.
Rings.
Yep. Yep, there it is. So the machine shop gave me every single one of these. Just gave me the big old box along with the whole machine block, the crank, and those heads. So I should have everything other than a clutch, which I had not ordered yet, to put all this back together along with the work I need to do in my engine bay. Because there's a lot of stuff I want to do to preserve it and make it look a lot better. But as of now, this thing can be assembled. So that's what we're going to do. It's definitely scratched up quite a bit. I hope it doesn't do anything, but we did have them. I sent these rods with them, and they went ahead and pressed on the new pistons, which do say, what, 30 thousandths over on top of them. It should be like stock style pistons, honestly. I don't have the old ones. I'm pretty sure they took the old ones. I don't have the old ones to compare it. Well, we sprayed this thrust bearing off with some brake clean, because you always want to clean everything off before you put it in there. But we know that this is the bottom one because it's got that little oil groove in it, which sits down on this. And we know which way this goes because it's got that little tab on it, which goes to there. And it applies to every single one of these because all of these will have a groove because of these oil passages, and they all will have that little tab, which when you slide them down in there, it stops it from moving. Make sure you have this pressed all the way down in, and even with the block here. Along with each one of these passages, you do want to clean these up too, just in case. Like, you just always want to keep all this clean. But we took brake clean to this and a microfiber towel because you don't want any of those tiny particles to get in there. So we went ahead and wiped this down as clean as we could get it before we're putting any of these bearings in here. Looking through that box, it's literally all we could find was this piece here that sits in the back of this. So we're assuming that you have to put the crank in first and then like press it on around the end of the crank. So that's, I guess, what we're going to do. But before we put that crank on there, you obviously want to lube it up. This is the only assembly lube that we have. AutoZone was out of any assembly lube or crank lube or even white lithium grease. They were out of all three. And I was in a rush that day, so I didn't pick up any, and I didn't think about it today. So this is all I have. Still seems good. It is a little dirty because it sat underneath that grinder that's over there. But this is what I'm going to use. And I go overboard with pretty much everything that I use. I don't know if it's a sin to use way too much, but I definitely do.
It's not very thick for assembly lube.
You want thick and not thin, don't you?
I'm saying it's not very thick.
I guess we could use here. Just spin it around real fast. Like if you're at 6K, spin it that fast. It started to rust there a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that rust spot on that.
But that doesn't really matter.
I mean, is it like surface rust or is that looks pretty
It's
deep?
pretty much just surface rust, and it's on a weight anyway, so it doesn't matter. Got a little bit here, but
There we go. It looks pretty deep, but hopefully it won't affect much. We should at least try to clean that off a little bit if we can. You need me to spray this too?
yeah.
Or you
Only
start
got
with
one hand.
and clean all the bearing surfaces and oil passages. I swear, my phone is focusing on the welder box behind the crank. I think I need to start shooting in pro mode so I can set the focus. Trying to get that rust off there.
Not really, but
It's pretty deep cuts, ain't it?
kinda. There's not a whole lot you can do.
I mean, that machine
Wait, hold on,
machine shop did something like very professional, like they knew what they were doing, and it was a lot of money to get this thing machined. Well, not just this specifically, but all of this stuff is quite a bit of money. So I was hoping that they do a great job on it. There's probably nothing they could have done for most of the stuff we're finding. We need a second one here.
Let's spray this one. Spray that weight. Get some of the rust off there.
Spray all of this
Yeah. I mean, spray like each individual one there or whatever.
and keep turning it. Now you can focus on it. It's like I'm painting my crank here with brake clean. I'm gonna go through and wipe all of that.
Dry it off.
Work out for you?
Mm-hmm.
You still hadn't even got that bearing out of there. And lost all the needle bearings whenever we were taking all this out. But that's what comes with that clutch kit. So we'll most likely put the crank in there and get that bearing out and then install that new one after we get that clutch and everything already in. But as of right now, it's just going to stay in until we get it in the block. Should move that box out of the way. Never go wrong with a little bit of extra lube. Alright, we finally found all the main caps here. And obviously this one has a punch number 4 on it. It has an arrow to let you know that goes toward the front of the engine. This can only go one way, which if you're from the back of the engine, this is the way this sits. These letters are facing you and go forward. But these obviously need cleaned up a lot. We're going to clean them up with brake clean. Put some
letters are facing you.
Technically, yes. If you look this way, that's where this one faces. They're facing you.
I guess so, yeah.
They're facing you. That's right. We'll clean this off with brake clean and put some lube on it, along with the bearings in it. and torque them down. Then I believe in that box down there is where all those bolts are for that. We're gonna have to find them and clean them up because I honestly doubt that they're clean. But we're gonna have to search because literally everything in here we kind of threw everywhere because it's been so long since I've had time to work on this because I'm in college and he's in trade school. So we don't have that much time to work on pretty much anything anymore. So we kind of threw everything around. So we cleaned up all the caps and we got all the bearings in. We did grease them quite a bit, or oil them, I guess is a better term for that. And we have all them facing, if you're facing the back of the engine, the letters, and as this one is, numbers, face you, and I have an arrow pointing towards the front of the engine, so you should know exactly which way this goes. Obviously this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whatever these numbers are in the back. My number 3 is where the thrust bearing goes. So you obviously have to put that on there, grease the sides of them before you put them on, well, before you put this cap on. And then for the pickup tube, it goes on, if you're looking at the engine from this view, it goes on number 3 for this one, and then the little nut, I don't know where I put it, goes on top of this. And then right now we have all these torqued down to 60 pounds, and we have to go to 70 for the next one. So 3/4 and a 1/2 inch. It says in the manual to go from the thrust bearing out. So